What's going on? What's happening? This is Golden Dark Day, and I'm here with my review of Power Book 2 Ghosts, Season 3, Episode number 8. I'm going to give you my review of this episode and possibly predictions for the next episode. Disclaimer, anything I say on my reviews is my express opinion. Nothing that I state is fact unless I specifically say so. Otherwise, it's just for entertainment purposes. I'm sharing my opinion and my perspective on this series, Power Book 2 Ghosts. So I want to make sure that if you enjoy my commentary and my opinions and my thoughts about the show, make sure that you comment, make sure that you like the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video among other viewers of the show. Let's all stay in this loop and, let me know what's on your mind as far as what's going on in the series and with the characters. So I just need to backtrack from season 7 when they showed the preview for this episode. I forgot to include estimating that when they showed Davis running in the dark and yelling out to someone to put the gun down, my estimation was that he was talking to his brother, but I didn't get to say that in my last video. So either way, that's an accurate assessment that I had made, just didn't get to state it, but that does happen on this current episode number 8. Okay, so I just wanted to get that out the way, put that in proper chronology. So now, starting off this episode, Diana just got apprehended and she's in the interrogation room with the female detective and with the lawyer Jenny, and they're grilling her, pretty strongly. Definitely the investigator, the cop is, right? We know how she does. So, however, Diana, she is not following the advice that Monet gave her once she got scooped up from the dinner table at home, which was to not say anything. Diana is expressing so much confidence in defense during this interrogation that she's telling them, okay, you can't, when you're trying to tell me that you got such and such evidence on me, but if you did, we wouldn't be sitting here talking right now. So she's just letting them know that, she has awareness that, okay, you telling me you got X, Y, and Z on me, but I know you really don't. So she's letting them know that. And so they take a pause, as far as kind of between Jenny and the detective. They're trying to play good lawyer, bad cop, but both of them ultimately are grilling her to the point that Diana lets them know. She's like, okay, well, all right, let me put it to you like this. You see me on camera getting something out of the locker, but that's all you really have on me. So I know you want me to say something. So who are you going for? Are you going for Tariq, or are you gunning for my mom, Monet? So that appears to shock the attorney and the cop, because they weren't expecting her to, I guess make a proposition, but she does. So then the next thing we see is we see some communication between. Actually, this is follow-up communication because it's the Tejada family, they're at home and, they're trying to figure out what steps they need to take as far as, proceeding to get Diana back home. And so Kane he volunteers to go to campus and try to dig around. When he said it, I was pretty sure that was going to be a lost cause. That was an empty offer. Because realistically, who was he going to go to campus and talk to and try to get, personal insight from about why his sister just got arrested? However, his character did that as a means really to go talk to Effie and really just to inform Effie that, hey, my sister got scooped up. Do you have any idea why this may have happened? Any awareness that this was on the verge of happening? Anything like that. And so they also discuss, what's going on with Tariq, as far as Effie being on the outs with, selling and operation and whatnot. So what happens next is what we have a glimpse of right now, which is, they do the do, because she lets Kane know, like, expressing her verbally expressing her appreciation for him having covered her tuition. And so they end up having a moment of weakness of the flesh. I don't want to call it a romantic moment, but they have a moment. And so next thing you know, Kane, we see he's getting a call from his mom. She's checking on his whereabouts, summoning him back home, because obviously they still have, business to handle as far as getting Diana out of police custody. But then here comes somebody knocking at Effie's door, and that would be Tariq. So unexpected visit, but he comes and Effie's telling Kane, like, hey, I don't have time for no drama right now. I need you to get out of sight real quick while I see what he wants. And so Kane reluctantly obliges, and Effie lets Tariq come in. So he has no idea that Effie has a visitor, but he does come to the room on business. He did state that before she opened the door to let him in. So she lets him in, and he's making her he's extending a proposition to her, just for the sake of, fulfilling something that he wants her to do. Obviously, he thinks it will appease her, but, she's fronting to Tariq as though it's nothing and that she doesn't care. But, ultimately, she tells him, okay, I'll do it. So he's telling her, like, hey, I need you to do this or that. It's something minor. But she ultimately agrees to do it, because opportunity for her to make some money, and again, help out Tariq as far as the operation, and there being some visibility to products still being pushed or whatever. And so that happens, and like I said, Effie is like, okay, I'll do it. So then we have a conversation between the Tejada family and the other family, that they have teamed up with here recently. And, they're just trying to, the Tejadas rather, Monet is explaining to them what the current stance of things is because of Diana getting arrested. And so she's just telling this other family, like, nothing's going to be moving for the next few days. We got to lay low. We got to keep things quiet and try to reduce visibility, because right now the cops have no idea that we're working together, and we want to keep things that way. So one of the sons in that family is expressing some reluctance and just agitation, really. He's kind of bitching, so to speak. He's, a little bit overly emotional, but his mother calms him down and, forces him to respectfully react to Monet, because he actually is being, like, unnecessarily disrespectful. But his mom checks him on that. And right before they leave, they did ask Drew about the whereabouts of, their son / his former and now deceased lover. They're like, oh, have you heard from him? And so Drew, he has to think on his feet, and he plays it off, telling them, no, I haven't actually heard from him, but, that's all he really says. And so one of the brothers was like, oh, is it trouble in paradise? Is everything good or what? And Drew's like, yeah, everything's fine. And that's all he ends up telling them. So nobody knows that he has killed the guy except for Kane and Monet, because they helped him clean up that mess. So the family rolls out, and then we see Braden's co-worker. I do not know this character's name. I don't think I ever have. It's not memorized for me, but she makes a stop to Braden's home, pretty much just to, check him and really, see where his head is at and keep him on track with what needs to continue and what should happen next as far as his movements go. So he's agitated at her. He's annoyed by her showing up, but she just lets him know, like, dude, this is what you need to do next. Chill out, stop being in your feelings, because that ain't got nothing to do with why I'm here right now. She's just kind of like giving him redirection as far as what the focus is going forward, as far as them continuing to do the work that they need to do through the company, and for him to not attempt to blow up the spot, because everybody knows what's happening now. So it's like, there's no need to be emotional about it. But that's what happens next with that. And then we see a brief interaction with Kane making it back home. And then also, I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. Also, now that Brayden has his head wrapped around, the realization that his family's enterprise is a front, he gets back to work. And so as soon as he shows up, Tariq is all over his case, like, dude, where you been? I've been trying to reach you. So at this interaction, this juncture, Brayden, he plays it off initially. It's like, I've been having, work assignments. But ultimately, he lets Tariq know the deal with his, with the enterprise, and that it's a Ponzi. So also, though, Tariq exchanges, they have an exchange of information, because Tariq discloses to Brayden, like, okay, wait a minute. That's what's up, because like, really, that's the last thing that needs to be like part of the mix right now, because it's a RICO case that's being built up right now in progress. So he's just letting Brayden know, like, it's too much going on. This is a collective sharing of information for both of them to realize that it's a lot going on, as far as things like starting to cave in, and bring, the unwanted legal attention to all of these things. So that's what happens here. And like I said, Brayden gets a little flustered all over again. He's kind of letting Tariq know. He's like, well, wait. Because Tariq is like, well, why you ain't? He was like, man, I don't need to hear this news right now. And Brayden was like, well, shoot. You usually come up with a plan, man. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, you're the one who always end up, figuring out something, what have you. But either way, that happens in that moment. So then we see, really a domino effect as far as others being informed of the same information. Weston Holdings, is a front, and more people are being told that. So as we just saw, one of the affected parties, the Tejada family, Monet, she goes face to face to see, Brayden's uncle, and let him know, like, hey, dude, I'm gonna need my money back. Like, she lets him know in so many words that she knows what's up and that she wants her fucking money back. And again, more of the same is gonna follow. But then we come back to Diana getting questioned a second time by the legal representation, in support of her family, which is Davis and, collectively Sachs. However, Davis already infiltrated the questioning process that Sachs had initiated during their first meeting with Diana, because he became aware just in enough time that Sachs was likely gonna, try to flip things around as far as seeking out certain information from Diana to ultimately use against their family and for alternative purposes that Davis knows, has not been previously aware of. So Davis, like I said, he interrupted the whole situation. He spilled coffee on Sax's lap as a distraction to provide a message to Diana secretively and try to redirect the information that Diana was on the verge of providing to Sax. So now this is where we see Diana's putting her plan of, either following through with that or not to Sax. So they're talking again and they're one-on-one. So she's telling Sax, like, hey, yeah, I don't really trust, Davis too much, because I don't know if he's, only has my mom's best interest in her favor or what. But, she's giving Sax the impression that she wants to have this one-on-one interaction with him because, she's obviously giving him the impression that she trusts Sax more than she trusts Davis. So that's what's going on here. Then we see the interaction between Jenny and Sax, as well as the female cop. And so they converge. They have to catch up and see what's all going on between the angles among all of them and how those things coincide. So at this rate, Sax is letting it be known to the female investigator that, hey, I got this situation I'm in the midst of as far as Diana's. Y'all apprehended Diana, but remember, I'm part of her legal team for her family. So he's letting it be known. He's presenting to them that, he's willing to try to siphon whatever information from Diana so that the female investigator and Jenny can use that either against the Tejada family as a part of seeking to take Tariq down or just what have you. He just wants to see some stuff happen. Just like in the final season of Power, where, he was gunning for Ghost as well as Tommy. But, that all crumbled down against his expectation and his hope. And, he was on the verge of killing himself and then deciding that he was going to try to go after Ghost to try to kill Ghost. But, we know what the outcome of that was. That Tariq was the one who ended up killing Ghost before anyone else could get to him that may have been coming for him. All that being said, again, the position that Sax is in now is highly reminiscent of his approach when he was seeking to take down Ghost, and the presumed enterprise and who all was working together as far as Angela, Ghost, Tommy, and Ghost's wife Tasha. So, we're seeing a mirroring of that approach and that behavior here once again. But he lets them know that, like, hey, I'm down for it, because the female cop has to tell him, she's like, okay, so you're willing to get information to her and pass it on to us. Like, if you do this and if it goes through, like, you're putting yourself in a position where your cover is going to be blown and it's going to be revealed that you've done this and that you flipped on them. Are you ready for that? And he tells them that he is. Like, he's up for it. That's how, again, desperate he is right now to see some things, see some folks get handcuffed. And so next we see communication between Effie and Kane again. He's lightweight checking in on her, even though she told him not to, but he's kind of doing it anyway, And so in the midst of that, he gets interrupted because his brother Drew is having a meltdown. Drew is going off about seeing on TV that his ex-boyfriend, the basketball player, has decided to go public with announcing not only his sexuality, but also that he's showing off his boyfriend as well, which, is a white guy. I guess he's like a plain civilian or what have you. But either way, this is making Drew extremely upset and bothered. He's tearing up his bedroom over this. And so Kane is just kind of like peeping it out, like, he's definitely paying attention to, what has his brother up in a rut right now, but he's very attentive to the matter in the moment. But ultimately, that's what it is. And like I said, Drew, he just ends up, he's about to dip out, and Kane is like, dude, where you going? He doesn't make any judgmental comments, fortunately, about Drew's, physical outburst, but he asked Drew, where you going? And so Drew's like, I don't know, I guess I'm gonna go try to drink this off, drink my angst away, drink my frustration away. So the next thing that he ends up doing is he makes his way to some looks like a restaurant, or excuse me, a hotel bar rather, and he posts up in there, and somehow he does cross paths with his ex-boyfriend and his new boyfriend, because they're in there, I guess, having lunch together. So once they cross paths, Drew tries to, kind of hide himself, doesn't do a very good job. His ex notices him, and he ultimately, they have this confrontation, this interaction rather. His ex approaches him on a very, friendly level, but Drew can't contain his, his adverse emotions, and he has this emotional, very loud, attention-getting, outburst and reaction to his ex. And so as I'm watching this, I'm wondering to myself, okay, why is he doing all this? Because this is so doggone extra. And what does he hope the outcome of this is going to be, other than just letting him know, like, how he feels, which, I mean, the dude is definitely has moved on. He went to a whole nother area, but he just happens to be where Drew ended up, deciding to go, because the ex is actually visiting. He's just back visiting New York, where, Drew is, where Drew lives, where the basketball player used to be formerly when he was at that school there. So either way, this is the means by which they interact. And like I said, Drew has this loud, excessive outburst, just attention drawing, not a good look, not smart. But that's what happened. And then we see Sachs and we see, hopeful Governor Tate in a debate, which following, his love interest is in the audience, as well as RSJ is in the audience, and the Braden's family, his dad and his uncle, they're all present. They're sitting there on this debate. They're actually there for, socio-political agenda, as far as watching Tate's performance and, seeing how he fares during this debate. But aside from that, afterward, Tate is talking to, again, his love interest, and she lets him know that she's not really feeling, the moves that he's making, as far as, his pursuit to, win this office. So that's what we see right here. But just following this, or around this same situation, we also see a check-in with Davis and Sachs. And so Davis's brother pops up into their office and is just kind of checking in with his brother Davis and letting him know, yeah, my treatments, they're going well. And so Sachs is kind of, giving praise to the brother, but Davis has an abrupt reaction to Sachs and is like, hey, can you give us, like a personal moment here? He's very agitated. The reason behind this, though, is because he knows Sachs's agenda now. And so, he's hiding that. He is not letting Sachs know that he knows that, Sachs is in the process of, doing double-crossing work right now. But, that's why he snapped at Sachs the way that he did. So either way, Sachs steps out of the office, and now Davis lets his brother know exactly that about Saxe. He's like, yeah, you know, he's like, he double crossing right now. I don't know if it's gonna have an effect on, the fact that you got released in the way that you did, but I'm checking it out. I'm looking into it as we speak to make sure. He's like, I didn't want to tell you, but that's the reason why. I talked to him like that just now. It's kind of like I got an eye out on him. So his brother expressed a little concern, but Davis tried to reassure him, like, again, don't worry about it. I'm looking into it. I got you. And all this. So then, next thing we see is Tariq informing RSJ about Weston Holdings being a front. And, he's giving RSJ thorough insight as far as, a strategy that can be, pursued to remedy the matter. Then Effie's doing the job that Tariq asked her to do, which is making a pickup as well as delivery of the product, the undercover product operations rather, that Braden and Tariq have started under support of Weston Holdings. And so she's being surveilled, and what ends up happening is she gets they hold her as far as they apprehend her, but they don't arrest her. They don't take her in because they were able to test the product on the spot, and within minutes, to their surprise and dismay, they realized that the material that Effie was transporting is not actually drugs. So they have to let her go. Surprise, surprise. They weren't expecting that whatsoever. So they literally have to release Effie, and she's cussing, yeah, let me go, get the fuck out of me, da da da. So then, after that, and also, yeah, Tariq is actually able to surveil that occurrence where Effie got crossed up by the police, actually. So he's able to see, he watched it play out as far as her getting released and not, being further apprehended. So I guess that was just for, assurance purposes on as many ends as possible, to know in the moment, make sure the outcome was going to be smooth and as intended. So then we see, as far as the public outburst that Drew had, it actually comes back to bite him, because somebody recorded that interaction, that situation, being out in public, and as loud as Drew was. So see, this is exactly, that right there justifies the speculation I had in the moment that he was doing that. It's like, what is he doing this for? Like, this don't make good sense. Like, what's the objective? What's the point? Well, this is part of a result. This is, collateral damage, because that other family that's close to the Tejada family is able to see this and hear this and what he said in relation to the son that's, unheard from, and nobody knows where he is right now, because Drew said during that interaction to his ex, he's telling him how I had somebody and now things got so messed up and now they're gone and I don't have anything. And they get to see and hear this. So this is raising their suspicion very strongly. Justifiably so, right? Like, because we asked you about him and you said you ain't heard nothing from him. And now the next thing we see is you talking about he's gone. So what the fuck do that mean? Right? So that's a warranted question, and they decide, yeah, we're gonna have to holler at him again, and see what the heck is going on for real, because what he said don't really it's not adding up right now. So then Now, this is a follow-up of the result of Effie, getting trailed by the cops. And so they're meeting up at the Tejada household, just as far as, okay, well, what's the next move? Kane is, kind of going in, giving, Tariq a little edge as usual, but, understandably more so now because obviously, he has more personal interaction with Effie. And then we have this unexpected visit from Effie. Nobody knew she was coming, but she comes and she puts them on the spot as far as like what was this stunt that just happened I just endured? Like, why y'all couldn't let me know? Like, I get why it happened, but y'all didn't have to not let me know it was gonna happen. Y'all could have given me a heads up. So this is her gripe to them. And they're all, trying to explain to her, like, yeah, I mean, you right, but it was necessary. So she lets them know pretty much, all right, I see y'all. I see what it is. And so when she walks out, she says a remark to Kane. She asks him, are you coming? And he does. And so this is Tariq's reaction. Like, you know anything about this? And Monet's like, well, I'll just let you, look at the caption on the screen about it, and you can see for yourself how this went down, right? Check it out for yourself. Either way, Monet's answer to Tariq's question is indicative of her letting it be known, like, hey, I'm still focused on business. I'm not tripping off of whatever might be going on between them. I got awareness, but do I care? Am I trying to stop it? Nah, not for real. So now we go on to, again, it's further progression as far as, Sax's double cross and what just happened as far as them thinking that Effie was going to be the ace in the hole, but how they had to let her go because she didn't have any drugs. So Sax and Jenny they're going at each other as far as that failed attempt, because again, that was supposed to be surefire, but it was a fail. And they're just, speculating strongly against each other. Jenny initiates the speculation like, okay, did you do this on purpose? Because it seems like you did. Sax is letting her know, like, nah, you got me all wrong. There's no way, I would have had no reason to do such a thing. This is, he's letting her know that this is about the bigger picture, not about me trying to get back at you. That's not what I was doing. And so ultimately their conversation results in, them, Sax initially being the one to make it clear to Jenny, like, man, I really thought that, we had something in the beginning that was like, genuine and clear cut and personal. He said, but nah, I see you not that type of person because you too, consumed by working. And she tells him, F you. He tells her, never again. So what do you think that indicates? Literally, he never wants to F her again. But then, the next scene is highly problematic because, part of what he just told Jenny before their convo concluded to the far left was that he's like, dang, this, because y'all could not arrest her, this means for sure, because of what I've had to do, because of what I've done, passing on this information from Diana and the like, he's, he is able to assess, and he says it, he's like, there's a target on my back now. Well, here we go. But guess what? This here is the target, but it's not a target that he suspected whatsoever, literally being on his back. Now, we have the the aftermath of Tariq letting RSJ know that Weston Holdings is a farce, he's confronting the uncle of Braden about this and letting him know. Same thing that Monet let him know. Like, dude, you gotta give me my money back. Give me my cash back. But, RSJ, has some additional, layers to his demand for his money back. Not only are you going to give me my money back, but you also going to give back the trust fund of Tariq's that you have, as well as ensuring that, Monet gets her money back. That's how the family money gets back. And, this is a caveat that Braden, is ensuring. So this is just to show us viewers that this plan here is masterminded with RSJ, presenting this requirement, not only coming from Tariq, but also collectively from Tariq and Braden, because, they're trying to show a united front here as far as being against Weston Holdings being a front. They want it to be known that they're not with it, despite their their ill doings and their underhanded business they got going on, which technically in the beginning it was separate from Weston Holdings. They were also using Weston Holdings as a front, but however, this is how the cookie's crumbling for Weston Holdings. And then we see the fact that Tate has lied to his romantic interest, because he told her, when she let him know about her concerns about the way he's moving to try to gain this office and who he was associating with, had plans to associate with, he told her he was gonna cancel that plan to do it. However, he did follow through with it, and she found out that he lied to her. And so they just had a convo about that. He tried to brush it off, and he's just letting her know he has to iterate to her his ambition. But he's like, she's like, you got to get that donation that they gave you back. He's like, no, I can't do that. I don't lose. She's like, well, that's interesting, considering the irony that because you lied to me, you just lost me. So that looks like that's likely the end of their interaction and dealings, because Tate definitely had it on his agenda. If you don't know, an integral part of the political process is inclusive of the candidate's image, not only professionally but also personally. And so Tate is a single man, and so he was eyeing this professor. I can't think of her character's name, but she is the professor at Stansfield. She is one of Tariq's instructors, as well as the other students. She is a former love interest of Tate's. So, they have rekindled and reconnected, but because, ultimately because of, him not being transparent and him lying to her, she's like, okay, yeah, I'm rolling out. I ain't got this to do. So now they've parted ways in this moment. And so we're following back up with the status of Saxe, because, in the scene where Davis's brother, was holding him at gunpoint, taking him captive, he had just called Tariq. And so Tariq is just now being able to check the message and, try to assess the situation with Saxe, like, what's going on with dude? And so obviously he's running this matter by Davis because they work together. And so Davis, is simultaneously compelled to try to contact his brother, but he's unable to. And so, it's just a matter of unsuccessful phone tag, because Tariq said he had tried to call Saxe, return Saxe's voicemail by calling him back about 10 times, but he hadn't picked up. And so they're able to connect the dots and, conjure that, well, dang, maybe they're together, some type of way. And so now they go on somewhat of a hunt to find them. But before we see the results of that, we see Diana finally gets released from police custody, and she wants to she's urging or pleading rather with her mother, Monet, like, I want to leave. Like, I'm trying to get out of this. Now she feel like she don't got this to do. And so her mom, Monet, is just like, girl, go on. Like, get in the car. Like, I ain't got this to discuss right about now. So she's very passive about it. But then the next thing you know, we see, appears the connection between, or the affiliation rather, between Kane and Effie appears to be growing stronger. However, what happens next is a pretty prominent surprise, and that's that Effie is getting scooped up once again by the cops out of her dorm room. Now, we know she can't be getting brought on the same attempted charges before, as far as, moving weight. So why is she getting arrested now?
Let's take a look and see. Because Effie she's asking the question, why are you arresting me? They haven't said it yet. It's not clear why they've tracked her down again. But now we see why. Have it. So this is revealed to viewers. Shock and awe for those who were the closest within the scenario of, confidently presuming that Lauren was no longer breathing, because Effie was the one who took it upon herself to infiltrate Brayden getting Lauren away and take Lauren's life out. However, again, now she gets to see, as well as Kane gets to see, that Lauren is still alive. So now we are getting the result of Tariq and Davis, Method Man's character. This is crazy. Now we're seeing the back end of them trying to track down Saxe and Davis's brother. And this is what it is, y'all. So, yeah, he is taking Saxe hostage. And here's that scene from the preview where he's shouting, "Put the gun down," right? So this is what's happening. And it's so that, they're pleading. He's pleading with his brother, like, don't, let him go. You have no reason to take him captive. He's of no threat to, anything being reversed as far as your release goes. But the brother is convinced of otherwise, right? And also simultaneously hopeless, because he's sick, right? But he reveals to Davis that when he came and told him and Saxe that his treatments were going well, that was a lie. And he's actually, pretty much in the countdown of his last days due to whatever he's ill from. I don't think that ever actually got disclosed, so we can, presume whatever illness we like that his character is suffering from. But again, he's not only, like he don't deserve to be out, it's not worth it, he got released, and because he's dying, you know what I mean? And he feels like, again, he's convinced that Saxe's activity, again, is an additional factor in the, what can I say, in the lack of progression of, him not having. So this is why he still got a gun in his back, even though Davis is pleading with him, like, don't do anything. He's trying to tell him, like, he's got nothing to do with this. Tariq is trying to plead with him, like, you don't gotta do this, man. Like, there's other, resolutions here. And so the problem is that Davis's brother just does not believe it. Like I said, he's convinced himself. And unfortunately, he shoots Saxe. later, after the shock of him doing that by Davis as well as Tariq is flustered because he knows on Sax's voicemail, he's saying, like, I know where your mom and your sister are, so if anything happens to me where my life ends, then there's no way you'll ever find out where they are because I'm the one who knows. But we see what's happening right here. We see what just occurred. So this is not a matter of this being a non-fatal wound. So this is us being the last of Sax. And I would save this for my for the prediction, but I'm compelled to insert it right here because I did not see this coming anywhere in my foresight whatsoever. Nowhere would I have predicted that any character, to this degree of longevity that Sax has had, I never would have imagined that such a character would be done. So it's very comparable to when the character that when Proctor got taken out. So it's on a similar level of a sense of loss of again a prominent character on the show, on the series. So I don't leave that out in my prediction or anything like that. But Sax is done, and so is Davis's brother now, which you get to see that right here as well. So yeah, man, it just wasn't. This was a total surprise ending. Yeah, it was lightweight shocking. And listen, props to Method Man right here in this scene, right? He gave the convincing emotion. He gave it. So props to Method Man playing the character Davis and his reaction to his brother taking his own life. After all that he went through, really, we can say throughout his whole, pursuit of his career as a lawyer, was for the sake of ultimately seeking to get his brother released. And that just happened and on such a short-lived measurement of time. Because he just took his own life. He couldn't see the forest for the trees. So, yeah, Davis is in some pain right now. He's in some pain. And Tariq is, also reeling because, again, we got Sax down and gone. We don't know if Tariq's ever going to be able to make his way back to his mother Tasha and his sister Yaz, even though he has done so once already, did make his way back to them once, with them being in protective custody and with them being able to reunite his sister with his mom. He saw to that. But again, as far as them all being able to reside together again, securely and safely, this situation just puts that scenario in high jeopardy, very high jeopardy. So that's how this episode wraps up. And so as far as my predictions for the next one, now we have to estimate one, what's gonna happen as far as Drew and the other family that's close to his family, with them seeking to find out where their son is and the lie that he told to them. Okay? Also, to the point that, to the degree, is he going to try to take them out? Is he possibly going to take himself out? Is he going to end his life? Because remember, he already has this distress from seeing his ex, which he had very strong feelings for, move on publicly. And, this is something that his ex had wanted to Drew, but Drew was against it because, you know, he was in a hot spot at the time. And, you know, just one of the last things that would have been conducive for either one of them. But either way, we got to see what Drew does. And with that situation, as far as, you know, the fact that he took out his more recent lover and his family's checking for him, and they're going to be coming to check Drew. Also, what's going to happen with Effie? Is she going to get effectively, you know, charged because she attempted to, you know, kill Lauren unsuccessfully? But she's also in a position where she could, you know, try to get herself out of that scenario by telling all she knows about the operation that she was, you know, involved in with Tariq, Braden. You know, literally she could try to throw them under the bus in order to save herself, right? We know that. So we gotta see what move she's gonna make since she's in custody now. And also, I want to say maybe one or two more prominent things to keep an eye out on is I don't know, like, what are the other to how the family members going to do, because, you know, it's eyes on them because of Drew, but are there eyes on their family as a whole aside from Drew? So, you know, they might have to get guns blazing in order to have Drew's back once they come to approach Drew again about, you know, the whereabouts of their son. You see what I mean? It might result in a family face-off, to hide a family face-off with that other family. So we got to see, you know, what that's going to amount to. And finally, to assess what moves Davis and Tariq can and might make collectively to continue covering their own asses. I'm not sure Braden necessarily has to do anything, but I think everybody knows now that everybody who needs to know that Weston Holdings is a farce now knows. I don't recall that information being run by Davis, but maybe it will be on the next episode. So that would be episode number 9. And that will be, you know, what's anticipated as the second to final episode of this season 3. So that's my review, my opinions, and my predictions for episode 8 and my predictions for episode 9. So share your thoughts, you know, right along with mine. Do you agree? Do you agree with my predictions for what's going to happen, and, you know, who we need to be watching to see what moves they make for episode 9? Do you agree? Do you have a difference of opinion? Let me know. Put it in the comments. Share your thoughts. I want to know your perspective about this episode 8 and what happened. You know, how do you feel about the character Sax being taken out, getting taken out, y'all? Again, for me, it was totally unexpected. So, I mean, do you feel it was warranted for the sake of, you know, for just the show from a writing standpoint? Do you feel like it was warranted? Or do you feel like his character ran its course, so to speak? Or, you know, do you feel like the role of his character could have been extended through the end of this season? So let me know. I want to know what you think. And remember, subscribe to this channel, like the video, share the video. Also, make sure that you follow my IG profile. That's goldendark_Dame, GOLDNDARK_DAME. Follow me on Instagram so we can stay connected, because sometimes I post on there when I'm going to be doing a review. Either way, share your comments, share your thoughts. And yeah, until next time.